Arkham Asylum's opening scene is an amazing piece of world building and storytelling. We first see a stormy night in Gotham as the Batmobile from the 1992 cartoon races down the street towards Arkham Asylum. We linger at the gates of the entrance to the asylum before panning up to see Arkham in all its glory and all its horror, foreshadowing the long night Batman is about to have. The scene blackens and cuts to the outer doors of Arkham, opening up to show Joker on his knees and in cuffs, with Batman stoically standing triumphant next to him. Next, we see Joker interact with a few guards and the Warden, simultaneously establishing what kind of Joker we're dealing with and just how comfortable he is in his current predicament. The Clown Prince of Crime is then strapped to a mobile chair and escorted through the inner parts of Arkham. Joker makes a few quips and jokes here or there as Batman and the guards keep a close eye on him, and then we're introduced to the 12-foot-tall, monstrous Killer Croc, who kindly invites us over for dinner. Joker is eventually separated from us and is being taken to the intensive treatment ward with only a single guard and single doctor to keep an eye on him. Obviously, Joker breaks free, Harley Quinn in the control room unlocks a few doors, and Batman busts through the glass and we're off to the races. The first thing the game introduces is the beat-em-up style mechanics that we've all come to know and love, and then subsequently get bored of because it's been reused over and over again in nearly every game. But here in Batman Arkham Asylum, it is where the combat system was tuned into a fluid machine of kick-ass, and while it got frustrating at times with the targeting and locking animations, it was still fun. There are 7 types of grunts throughout the whole game, but if you take away the fact that one type was just plants that shot orbs of death at you the whole time, and you don't count the goons with guns since almost every single one of them with a free hand and opposable thumbs could pick up said guns, that leaves us with really only 5 types. You've got your basic goon, your goon with knives, your loony goons, your goons with taser sticks, and your roid rage goons. Most of these goons had specific ways to take them out, such as stunning the knife goons or showing off your gymnastic skills to the taser goons. One thing you didn't want to just do is mash buttons like I did, unless you want to end up like Bat Swiss cheese full of knife holes and bullet holes. The lack of variation in goons I can excuse, however, because there wasn't too many encounters where it felt like it was very repetitive, and each type of goon was introduced at what felt like an appropriate pace. Once you get to about the 50% mark of the game, then you start to see different combinations of these fist magnets. This keeps you on your toes just enough to figure out how to prioritize which goon first, but not enough to make you feel like you're in a Souls game and you're about to throw your controller through a wall. Speaking of encounters, they didn't happen too often either. Sure, there was a small part here or there with a few goons in a hallway or an open room, but these moments weren't meant to challenge your martial prowess. They were meant to empower you, to let you feel like you are the knight. Picking them off one by one in a stealth environment and seeing their heart rates flare up makes you feel like you are the Dark Knight himself. And that's what I think this game nails on the head. You don't just play as Batman, you are Batman, and you are a scary badass. Besides beat-em-ups and the occasional stealth sections, we do get a mixture of boss encounters and exploration moments. Exploration is handled fairly well here. There was never a moment where I felt lost or unsure of where to go. Bringing up the map highlights objectives, trails that you're following, doors that you may have missed, and if you pick up a Riddler map, it handily shows the locations of nearby collectibles. Wow. Even while in the labyrinth that is the underbelly of Arkham, I didn't feel lost or confused as where to go. And for that, I commend the developers of Rocksteady Studios for creating such a friendly user experience. Too often are there games that are story-driven and expect you to remember everything between play sessions. And while yes, there are some games that specifically don't tell you anything, I'm looking at you, Dark Souls. With a game this engrossed in its story, it can become detrimental to the experience by not guiding the player to where they want to go. Remember, in this story, you are Batman. Batman doesn't get lost. The amount of hand-holding in this game is what I would consider to be a perfect balance between guiding the player to the next story beat and allowing them to check out what's in that side room or where that vent that we keep passing leads to. And often, players are rewarded for exploring outside the story rails laid out to them. Collectibles in this game help deepen the story and add depth to an already established universe. Interview tapes and similar collectibles introduce character bios of individuals that you meet throughout the game and ones that influence Batman's life in one way or another. Riddler trophies and challenges are also scattered throughout the island of Arkham, tempting those who prefer to 100% complete games. Boss encounters are not as I thought they would have been given the early introduction to the combat system either. About half the boss encounters are less beat 'em up and more do things my way or else. Killer Croc, you can throw a batarang at him while avoiding his toothy maw. Scarecrow, you avoid his gaze between emotional trauma and skeletons from the Evil Dead series. Poison Ivy, you throw your batarang at her while avoiding her balls of death. And Joker, you run away from and give him a bat hug when he isn't looking. Others, like Bane, the Roid Rage goons, and goons mixed in with all the other boss encounters, are more like your traditional fist-to-the-face boss battles. And, while I enjoyed the challenges of your stereotypical boss fights, I did gravitate towards two particular encounters in Arkham Asylum: Killer Croc and Scarecrow. Killer Croc's lair has Batman quietly tiptoeing through an old sewer, hunting for glowy spored plants filled with steroid venom, while avoiding becoming Croc's next lunch snack. Every time Croc pops out of the water, my heart started racing, trying to find which direction he was coming from and how much time I had to throw my batarang to activate the shock collar around his thick, with 3 C's, neck. Scarecrow, on the other hand, was more similar to indie games like Limbo and Inside, side-scrolling and platforming around Crane as his burning gaze hunts for Batman. These two encounters felt like I was going up against less like an individual and more like standing against a force of nature. And this is how I want to see all of Batman's villains to feel. Killer Croc and Scarecrow are great starting points for that. The story of Arkham Asylum as a whole feels like a Batman story. We get to see the Caped Crusader investigating crimes, saving Jim Gordon, and sneaking around and being a badass. The only shortcomings I felt about the whole story was in the final villain and their desperate attempts to finish off Batman. It felt like the story was put on the sideline to have a boss battle for the sake of having a boss battle, and it didn't give the character justice. The rest of the game though, I loved it. I could watch it if it was a movie based entirely on this game, and I wouldn't have any complaints. Even the voice acting is top-notch, with voice actors like Kevin Conroy reprising his role as the Dark Knight, and Mark Hamill as the perfect voice of the Joker. Every line spoken felt like it was from someone that was in the universe, not someone that was just reading lines from a small voiceover closet. Between that and the ambient music, I was Batman for 8 hours, and it felt good. So with that, I can proudly say I would give Batman Arkham Asylum 3.5 batarangs out of 4, for its story, narrative focus, gameplay mechanics, and user experience. Comment down below your experiences with Arkham Asylum, and let me know what you thought of the video. Also let me know on Twitter. I also stream on Twitch on the weekends as often as life allows, links to both in the description down below. I would love to hear your feedback and any stories you have from this game, and I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. I look forward to trying out the rest of Rocksteady's Batman series, as my next game's probably going to be Arkham City since I'm already on the Batman high and I want to keep it going. However, until then, I hope you're all having a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.